Welcome to Zoe Stories. My girlfriend's mom made me her beauty queen. I never expected my life to unravel in silk and satin. From the outside, I was just another quiet, well-mannered guy, minding my business, working my 9 to 5, and keeping my head down. But beneath the routine, behind the locked door of my tiny bedroom, there was a secret I never thought would surface. The city was loud, relentless. But our neighborhood, nestled at the edge of the suburbs, felt like a different world entirely. A place where everything moved slower, where the roses outside the windows always bloomed perfectly, and the curtains rarely shifted. That's where she lived, my girlfriend, with her stunning, overbearing mother. Her house stood like a museum, spotless, elegant, intimidating. When we started dating, I'd always been careful. Careful not to let her get too close. Careful not to let anyone glimpse the duffel bag under my bed. Inside it, a few outfits, a pair of worn beige heels, a bottle of rose-scented lotion, and one wig I dared never wear unless the door was bolted shut and the lights were dimmed. It wasn't just crossdressing. It was escape. I didn't do it for fun. Not really. It was therapy for a part of me that had been neglected for years. Since childhood, I'd been drawn to softness, to beauty. But where I grew up, those things were strictly off-limits for boys. My father had made that very clear. So I buried those parts of myself, wrapped them in layers of fear, and pretended they didn't exist. Until recently. The first time I tried on a dress again in my adult life, it wasn't even mine. It was my girlfriend's. She had left it on a hanger after we spent the weekend at her place. A silky, emerald green number. She said it was too tight on her, that she meant to donate it. When I touched the fabric, something lit up inside me. A dangerous curiosity. That night, with trembling hands and the door locked, I slipped it on. It fit me better than I expected. The neckline hugged my chest. The hem kissed my thighs. I stood in front of her mirror, a stolen goddess. My heart raced, not with shame, but exhilaration. I didn't want to take it off. And I didn't until I heard a car door slam and panicked, tearing it off so quickly I nearly ripped it. But that moment haunted me in the best way. It wasn't just about the dress. It was about becoming someone else. Someone softer, braver, someone free. That was weeks ago. And now, here I was, sitting stiffly on my girlfriend's pristine couch, knees together, trying not to let my eyes drift to the framed family portraits on the mantel. Her mother was in all of them, of course. Poised. Powerful. Beautiful in a way that made you stand up straighter when she entered a room. She'd always been polite with me, but I could feel the way she studied me when my girlfriend wasn't looking, like she was peeling away my layers one by one. Today was different. My girlfriend had stepped out for an errand. Something quick. 20 minutes, she said. And I should just wait. Her mother had offered me tea, with a smile too sharp to be genuine. Now we were alone. Just the two of us. The silence stretched between us like a wire pulled tight. "You're very quiet," she said finally, walking slowly around the couch like a lioness circling prey. "I guess I am," I replied, forcing a smile. She watched me closely. "My daughter likes you. Thinks you're sensitive. That's not a bad thing, you know." I cleared my throat, unsure how to respond. "Thanks, I guess." She sat across from me, legs crossed in a way that demanded attention. Her lipstick was flawless. Her nails matched. She radiated power and control. "I've always believed a man should be in touch with his softer side," she said, sipping her tea without breaking eye contact. "Tell me, are you?" My throat dried. Did she know? I laughed nervously. "I try to be respectful, thoughtful. If that's what you mean." "That's not what I meant," she said smoothly. Her eyes narrowed, like she was scanning my soul. Then she leaned forward, elbows on her knees. "I'm going to ask you something bold, and I want you to answer honestly." I nodded, unsure if I could even breathe. "Have you ever worn a dress?" The room froze. The words landed like a stone in still water, sending ripples through every thought in my head. My fingers twitched on my knee. My instinct screamed at me to lie, to laugh it off, to escape. But something about the way she said it, calm, deliberate, made it clear she already knew. Or suspected. I began, voice barely a whisper. Maybe once. Just curiosity. She nodded, as if she'd expected that answer all along. No shame in that, she said, standing up and walking toward the hallway. In fact, I think curiosity is the first step toward discovering who you really are. I watched her disappear into the shadows of the hallway. A moment later, I heard the soft rustling of fabric. She returned carrying a garment bag. She laid it on the arm of the couch. This used to be mine, she said softly. Vintage. Elegant. I think you might look stunning in it. My heart nearly stopped. What are you? She smiled. You've been playing around in secret for too long. It's time someone helped you do it properly. It was just past noon when I found myself alone in the house again. Emma had gone out to meet her friends, and her mom had taken the car to run errands. The silence hung heavy, comforting and terrifying all at once. I should have used the time to relax or finish my assignment. But my heart was restless, pounding in a way I knew too well. That morning kept replaying in my head, Emma's mom standing behind me with that calm, commanding look as I wore her silk robe. She hadn't said anything else, but the way she walked away, slowly, deliberately, left a silent challenge in the air. I was sure she knew, and I didn't know what that meant. But now that I was alone, the temptation was too much. I moved cautiously through the hallway, past Emma's room, toward her mom's door. I hesitated for a moment. This was wrong, but it wasn't new. I had done this before. I just never thought anyone would know, let alone encourage it. Her mom's closet was massive, like something out of a fashion influencer's dream. Dresses lined in neat color-coded order, heels stacked on racks, soft silk blouses hanging in rows. The scent of perfume hung in the air like a spell, seductive, feminine, hypnotic. I reached out and touched a crimson satin dress with gold embroidery. It shimmered under the light. My fingers lingered there for a long time, heart thumping louder than ever. The pull was unbearable. I shut the door and opened it again 10 seconds later. My hands trembled slightly as I stepped out of my clothes. I folded them neatly, placing them in the corner like it was some kind of sacred ritual. I reached for the crimson dress. It looked tailored, sharp, almost royal. I pulled it from the hanger, letting the soft material glide through my fingers. It felt too beautiful to wear, but also like it was meant for me. I slid it on slowly. The satin hugged my skin, cold at first, then warm as it settled. I zipped it up the side, surprised at how perfectly it fit. I turned toward the full-length mirror. And there I was. No longer the boyfriend. No longer the guy hiding in shame. A girl in a dress. Poised. Elegant. Unrecognizable. And yet more me than I'd ever felt. But that wasn't enough. My eyes drifted to the makeup on the vanity. The lipsticks, the brushes, the powders, all calling to me like forbidden fruit. I sat down. I started with foundation. Then blush. Carefully dusted over my cheeks. Then eyeshadow. In soft pink and gold. It was clumsy. Untrained. But I was focused. Each stroke felt like stepping deeper into someone else's life and loving it. Then came the wig. It wasn't something I had planned. But Emma's mom had a gorgeous auburn wig in a silk bag on the shelf. I had no idea why she had it, but it didn't matter. I pulled it on, adjusting the fit until the bangs fell perfectly across my forehead. And finally, lipstick, deep red, the same shade as the dress. I stood up, heels wobbling under me, trying not to laugh from the rush of it all. I felt ridiculous and beautiful, and exposed, and completely alive. But then I heard it. A sound downstairs. A door? I froze. Panic hit me in the chest like a brick. I rushed to the window, no car in the driveway. But maybe Emma had walked? Or her mom came back early. I clutched the vanity, breathing hard. My hands were shaking again, but not from excitement this time. I tiptoed toward the door, cracking it open just a bit. Silence. Had I imagined it? Or had someone just come in and walked down the hall? I crept out into the hallway, heart racing, listening for the slightest noise. My heels clicked softly on the floor, betraying every step I took. I nearly slipped on the rug, grabbing the wall to steady myself. No one was there. Just the quiet hum of the AC. But still, I couldn't risk it. Back in a room, I looked at myself again in the mirror. My face was flushed, my breath uneven. I should have changed back. But I didn't want to. Even with the fear, even with the risk, I didn't want to stop. And that terrified me more than being caught. Because maybe I was starting to love this too much. That's when I heard the voice. A soft knock on the door. And her voice, calm and gentle, just outside. "Are you comfortable, sweetheart?" I froze again. My throat went dry. She had come back. And she knew. I didn't say a word. Couldn't move. The door opened anyway. Emma's mom stepped inside slowly, her heels tapping quietly. She wasn't angry. She wasn't even surprised. She just looked at me, dressed in her gown, her makeup, her shoes, and smiled. "I knew you'd look perfect in that," she said softly. I opened my mouth to speak, to apologize, to explain. But nothing came out. She stepped closer and touched my chin, lifting it gently. "You've been hiding for too long," she whispered. But not from me. My knees felt weak. My thoughts were a mess. Shame, fear, desire, confusion, all crashing together inside me. "I shouldn't have," I stammered. She shook her head. "Don't apologize. You didn't steal anything. You found something. A part of yourself. And you look stunning." I didn't know what to say. No one had ever looked at me like that, like I was allowed to be like this. Like it was normal. Beautiful even. She circled me once, adjusting the strap on my shoulder, smoothing the side of the dress. "A few finishing touches," she said. "You need earrings. And your posture. Chin up. Shoulders back." She walked to the drawer and pulled out a pair of dangling gold earrings. "I shouldn't," I whispered. But she only smiled. "Darling, you already are. Now, let's make you the beauty queen you're meant to be." And I didn't stop her. I let her clip the earrings in place. I let her touch at my lips. I let her guide me to the mirror again. And for the first time, I didn't see a boy pretending to be a girl. I saw her. Me. Whoever she was finally here. And Emma's mom saw her too. After that day, nothing was the same. Emma's mom, who once just smiled politely at me over dinner, was now this quiet force in my life, guiding me towards something I didn't understand but couldn't walk away from. She never said much. She didn't need to. A look from her held more weight than 1,000 questions. And I kept coming back. Whenever Emma was out, her mom would find some reason to keep me close. A forgotten errand. A chat over coffee. A casual, "I bought something that might fit you just for fun." But it wasn't just fun. It was deliberate. And I was letting her do it. "I want to show you something," she said one afternoon as we sat on the patio. I was back in my regular clothes, trying to act like everything was normal. But every nerve in my body buzzed with awareness whenever she was near. She brought out a photo album. Glossy, thick, and surprisingly heavy. She flipped it open. Page after page of stunning women. Beauty queens, models, glamour shots. Hair perfectly styled. Gowns flowing like rivers of silk. Faces painted with soft, elegant confidence. Some looked like professional models. Others, like people I might have known. Then she pointed to one picture. "Her name was Maya," she said softly. "I trained her myself. Shy, awkward. But she had potential. Just like you." I blinked. "Trained?" She smiled. "I teach girls how to bring out their best selves. Pageant girls, models, performers. Transformation is an art." I didn't know what to say. My mouth was dry. And now, she turned the page again, revealing an empty spot with just a slip of gold paper that read, "Reserved for the next queen." Her eyes lifted to mine. "You're next." The next few days were a blur. She texted me when Emma was gone. Short messages. Just a time and a room number in the house. Sometimes it was the walk-in closet, other times the master bathroom. Once even the guest room she'd turned into a mini studio. Every time, she had something waiting. A dress. A pair of heels. a new wig, a set of makeup brushes arranged like sacred tools on a velvet cloth. "You'll need to learn to walk properly," she told me the first day. "You stomp like a boy." She made me walk in front of her, back and forth across the hall in 3-inch pumps. "You're collapsing inward," she said, tapping my thigh with a pencil. "Hips loose. Shoulders relaxed. Pretend there's a string pulling your head toward the ceiling." I tried again. "Better." "Not bad," she murmured. "We'll work on your voice next." She had recordings of past students, of herself teaching, of posture and diction and tone. We sat together, and she made me repeat words. "Breathe from your diaphragm," she said. "Not your throat. Lighten your vowels. Drop your pitch only when you need to sound serious. The rest of the time, your music." I hated the sound of my voice at first. It felt forced. Weird. But she was patient. Sometimes strict. But never cruel. "You're not pretending," she said one day as I tried to match her tone. "You're discovering. She's already in there. You're just letting her speak." Those words echoed in my head every night. I started practicing on my own. When I wasn't with her, I locked myself in my room, whispering lines into a mirror. Walking in socks on the hardwood floor to mimic heels without the noise. Practicing makeup with a tiny stash I'd secretly ordered online. And every time I saw her, the woman who was supposed to be just my girlfriend's mom, she noticed. "Blended better," she'd say with a nod. "Your jawline's softer now. Good contouring. You're holding your elbows like a lady." Finally. Her approval was addictive. Her gaze? Paralyzing. One afternoon, after an intense lesson in posture and poise, she led me to the vanity. A silver box sat there. "Open it," she said. Inside was a corset. Deep wine red, satin ribbons, detailed stitching. My mouth went dry. "This is the next step," she said softly. "Every queen must learn control of her body, her shape, her image." I hesitated. "It'll hurt at first," she said. "But beauty always demands something." She helped me into it. Pulled the laces tight. Tighter. I gasped as my waist shrank, my back straightened, and my breath grew shallower. The pressure was overwhelming, but somehow thrilling. She stepped back and admired the shape. "There," she whispered. "Now we're sculpting." And when she looked at me, I didn't feel like a guy being feminized. I felt like clay being molded into art. The next session, she had me pose. Lights. Mirrors. A camera. At first, I panicked. "Emma can't see these. What if someone finds them?" "They won't," she said calmly. "And she wouldn't recognize you anyway." That stung. But when I saw the photos afterward, my face framed in curls, lips full and glossy, eyes wide and dramatic, I understood what she meant. I didn't recognize myself either. And I didn't want to stop. She never crossed the line, at least not in a way I could explain. But everything she did felt intimate. Not sexual. Something more powerful. She once wiped a smudge of lipstick from my mouth with her thumb and whispered, "Perfection is in the details." She made me practice sitting, standing, even sipping tea in full dress. "You're not just playing dress up," she said one day, voice low. "You're becoming." I didn't know what scared me more, how deeply I was falling into it, or how much I loved it. And yet, every time I thought I had a grip on what we were doing, she surprised me. Like the day she called me by a different name. She was adjusting the hem of a gown I was modeling when she said, without hesitation, "Turn around, Alyssa." I froze. "Alyssa?" I whispered. She looked up at me, dead serious. "You don't like it?" I didn't respond. But I didn't correct her either. And from that day on, she never used my real name again during our sessions. Just Alyssa. And every time she said it, I responded. Days turned into weeks, and my double life deepened with every passing moment. The more I embraced Alyssa, the more my world started to blur at the edges. It was thrilling, but terrifying. Emma's mom had me practicing nonstop. Not just walks and poses anymore. Now it was etiquette, conversations, even small talk. A beauty queen must be graceful, not just pretty, she said. Her words echoed in my mind when I caught myself looking in the mirror for hours, searching for her. The version of me who could be confident, admired, maybe even loved. But Emma? She was starting to notice. I caught the first hint when I came home one evening and saw her sitting on the couch, scrolling through my phone. I froze. "What are you looking for?" I asked, voice too loud. She didn't look up. "Nothing," she said quickly, but the tension in the air was electric. I pulled the phone from her hands, heart pounding. Did she find something? The photos? The messages from her mom? "No, really," she said, eyes avoiding mine. "Just curious." That night, I lay awake, wondering how close I was to being found out. Every little noise made me jump. Emma's suspicions grew. She started asking casual questions. "Did your mom call you today? Who's that girl in the photo on your desk?" I brushed them off, but I could see the gears turning in her head. Then came the night of the party. Her mom invited me to join a small gathering of women from her pageant circle. The catch? I had to come as Alyssa. I felt a rush of panic. Emma was out of town, but her mom insisted, her eyes cold but not unkind. "This is your test," she said. "Your debut." Dressing as Alyssa felt like stepping into a new skin. The dress hugged every curve, the heels made me taller, and the makeup glowed under the soft lighting. Standing in the mirror, I barely recognized the reflection. "Remember," her mom whispered, "confidence is everything." At the party, whispers followed me. Compliments from strangers. Glances filled with admiration and curiosity. I played the part, smiled, laughed, more real than I'd ever felt before. But beneath the surface, anxiety clawed at me. What if someone recognized me? What if Emma's mom was pushing too far? As the night wore on, I felt eyes watching me. Then I saw her. Emma. She wasn't supposed to be back. But there she was, standing at the doorway, face unreadable. Our eyes met. The room went silent. Emma's sudden appearance at the party shattered everything. My heart hammered so loudly, I was sure everyone could hear it. The room's low murmur died down as a heavy silence took over. All eyes subtly shifted between Emma and me. Her face was unreadable, neither angry nor shocked, but something deeper, colder, waiting beneath the surface. Her mom's gaze sharpened, a silent warning flashing in her eyes. "Stay calm," she mouthed, but I barely noticed. Emma took a slow step forward, her heels clicking on the floor. "I didn't expect to see you here," she said, voice steady but low. I swallowed hard, words stuck in my throat. The smile I'd practiced all evening was gone. All I could do was stand there, caught between fear and something else, a strange relief that the secret was finally out. Her mom stepped beside Emma, suddenly firm. "This is Alyssa," she announced loudly enough for the room to hear, "the young woman I've been mentoring." The guests murmured, glancing between us. Emma's eyes flicked to me. "You never told me about this," she said quietly, disappointment thick in her voice. I wanted to. I finally found the courage to say. I just didn't know how. Emma's gaze softened for a moment, but then hardened again. "You could have trusted me." The air felt heavier, thicker. Every heartbeat was a drumbeat of tension. Emma turned away, biting her lip. "I need some air," she muttered, disappearing through the back door. I felt frozen, exposed. Her mom's hand on my shoulder was gentle but insistent. When Emma returned, the mood had shifted. Her eyes weren't accusing but searching. "I'm not mad," she said, "but this changes everything." "What do you mean?" I asked, panic rising. Emma hesitated. "I need time to understand, to accept, but I want to try." Those words felt like a lifeline and a challenge. Her mom smiled softly, but I knew this was far from over. Back at home, Emma and I sat in uneasy silence. The truth was out, but the path forward was unclear. She reached for my hand, fingers trembling slightly. "I want to know everything," she said. "Not just about Alyssa, but why you kept it from me." That night, I shared my story. The fears, the shame, the secret joy of transformation. How I'd felt trapped in a body that never quite fit. Emma listened, eyes glistening. "Thank you for telling me," she whispered. But even as she spoke, I sensed the fragile tension beneath her words. Our world had shifted. There was no going back. Just as I began to believe there might be hope, the phone rang. Her mom. "I have one more surprise," she said, voice heavy with promise and threat. The final test was coming. And this time, it wouldn't be just about beauty or grace. It would be about trust, love, and whether I could truly become the person I wanted to be. The phone call from Emma's mom hung heavy in the air like a storm about to break. "I've arranged something special for you," she said, voice smooth but firm. "A real beauty pageant. You will compete as Alyssa." My stomach twisted. This wasn't just another practice or a small party. It was the ultimate challenge. And Emma's mom was determined I'd face it head-on. I tried to protest. "I'm not ready. What if I embarrass myself? What if she regrets trusting me?" Her mom's laugh was low, almost teasing. "You've come too far to back out now. And besides, Emma will be there. Watching. Judging. But also supporting." The days leading to the pageant became a whirlwind. Emma's feelings were a roller coaster. Sometimes tender, sometimes distant, always uncertain. We tried to pretend everything was normal, but beneath the surface, the tension pulsed. One evening, Emma caught me in the middle of rehearsing a speech in front of the mirror, tears streaking my makeup. "You don't have to do this," she said quietly, stepping closer. "If it's too much." "No," I whispered. "This is who I want to be, who I have to be. But I'm scared." Emma pulled me into a hug. "Then I'll be right here. Every step." The night of the pageant arrived. The venue buzzed with energy. Lights flashing, music pounding, crowds cheering. Backstage, surrounded by women in sparkling gowns and flawless makeup, I felt like an imposter. But Emma's hand in mine grounded me. When my name was called, I stepped onto the stage, heart pounding in my ears. The spotlight blinded me, but I smiled, walking with every lesson etched in my mind. The judges' faces were stern, expectant. Then came the Q&A round. The microphone felt heavy. A judge's voice boomed. "Alyssa, what does beauty mean to you?" I swallowed hard. "Beauty," I began, voice trembling but growing stronger, "is about being true to yourself, no matter what others expect. It's about courage, kindness, and embracing who you are." The crowd erupted in applause. Emma's eyes shone with pride from the audience. But the night wasn't over. Behind the curtains, Emma's mom approached me with a sly smile. "Impressive," she said. "But now for the real test." She handed me an envelope. Inside was a photo. Me, dressed as Alyssa, but in a compromising moment from an earlier party, someone had snapped a picture. "This will be in the press if you refuse to play along," she said coldly. Panic surged. Was this blackmail? Emma's mom's calm demeanor twisted into something sinister. "I'm not just making you a beauty queen," she said. "I'm controlling your future." I looked at Emma, caught between fear and hope. Would she stand by me? Or would this secret finally tear us apart? The weight of the photo in my hand felt like a noose tightening around my neck. Her mom's smile never wavered, but her eyes were sharp, calculating. "You don't get to choose," she said softly. "You either play the part and keep this hidden, or your whole life becomes public." I felt trapped. My dreams, my identity, everything reduced to a game of threats. Emma watched silently, her expression unreadable. Finally, I found my voice. "I'm not your puppet," I said, voice shaking but defiant. Her mom's smile flickered, but she didn't back down. "Then prepare for consequences." That night, back at Emma's house, everything felt different. The bond we'd been building was cracking under the pressure. Emma looked at me with a mixture of sympathy and confusion. "How long were you planning to keep this from me?" she asked quietly. I swallowed the truth. I was scared. I didn't want to lose you. Emma's eyes softened, but the hurt lingered. "I want to believe you," she said, "but this secret, it's big." Days passed in a blur of rehearsals, whispered arguments, and stolen moments of tenderness. Emma's mom loomed over every decision, a constant reminder that this wasn't just about beauty or love. It was about control. On the day of the final event, I stood backstage, trembling. Emma took my hands, eyes fierce. No matter what happens out there, I'm proud of you. The spotlight hit me again. This time, the fear was different. It wasn't just about being Alyssa on stage. It was about facing my truth. Suddenly, the photo flashed on a big screen behind me. Gasps echoed. Whispers grew into shouts. I froze, every eye on me. Emma's mom's smirk was unmistakable in the front row. But then Emma stood up. No, she said firmly, this isn't who you are or who you should be. The crowd quieted. Emma's defiance was electric. I felt a surge of hope. Maybe love really could break chains. The auditorium was deathly silent after Emma's declaration. Eyes darted between us, the accused and the defender. Her mom's expression hardened, then flickered with something unreadable. She stood up slowly, clapping, slow and deliberate. Well played, Emma. But this isn't over. I glanced at the screen, the photo still shining behind me like a spotlight on my darkest secret. My heart thundered in my chest. Was this the end? Emma took a step closer to me, her hand still in mine. We'll face this together, she whispered. Backstage, the chaos exploded. Reporters rushed forward, cameras flashing. Emma's mom disappeared into the crowd, her intentions a mystery. Later, in the quiet of Emma's room, we sat in silence. Words felt meaningless. I looked at her, searching for answers. Do you still want this?
Us.
Emma's gaze was steady. I want to know the real you, she said softly. But this secret, it changes everything. The phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. I know what you did. This is only the beginning. The screen went black. The story left hanging in the balance. What happens next? Will they overcome the threats? Will love conquer the secrets? Comment below your theories. And don't forget to like and subscribe to see what happens in the next chapter of My Girlfriend's Mom Made Me Her Beauty Queen.